Okay, hey everybody, time to do an update video for y'all. I apologize, I know that it's been a while since I did the last one, but it's been busy, right? A lot going on, and I'll try to be better in the future about keeping you updated more regularly, but hey, no promises, right? But yeah, things have been busy, but in a good way. So let's get you caught up on what's going on. Today is a really big day for me. I'm going to show you why. Let's grab the camera and go to the front of the boat. I am no longer on a mooring. Released from my mooring this morning, my neighbor, Ben, whose boat is the white boat right up here, he came over this morning, late this morning. He's a DJ, he was up late, and he helped me release from my mooring and anchor out. So here you can see my anchor chain going down into the water, and my anchor is, well, if you see that little orange pumpkin looking buoy ball and that little yellow buoy ball right there, my chain is a little further out than those are, pretty much right towards that blue boat where Marco is getting on or off his dinghy, looks like. Anyway, yeah, it's like, 100 plus feet out there. So Ben was so kind as to come over and take the helm while I released from the mooring, and brought it over where we talked about bringing it. And I have to manually lower the anchor because the windlass is seized. So I have to grab the chain and pull it off the windlass and drop the chain down. But he manned the helm, and after we got the anchor set and we were feeling good that it was set, and he of course walked me through the process, but he then put on his snorkel and fins and all that, and he dove down and got a real good look at the anchor, said it's dug in really, really well. He said he feels super confident that I'm dug in well and I could withstand a nice size blow. So yeah, I'm stoked. I feel great. We actually brought some chain in. There was so much chain out, which that's good. You want a lot of chain out, but I'm at about 7 to 1 right now, we figure, which is pretty good. Anyway, now that I'm off the mooring, which I didn't pay for the last 4 or 5 days of the mooring, I don't think they're going to care. I really don't. I paid them for a week of it, and they're pretty cool over there at the Antigua Yacht Club. Tony's, I see Tony every day over there, and yeah, I don't think he's going to bug me about it. So, but regardless, I was having to pay for that mooring. So $30 a day for this boat. It's 75 cents per foot per day for a mooring here. This is a 40-foot boat, so that's $30 per day. That's ridiculous. That's like over a third of my daily budget right there. So can't live within my budget on a mooring. It's not possible. Needed to get anchored out. Now I'm anchored out, and being anchored out is like, it's a feeling of freedom, You're not paying anybody. You're just, it's free to anchor, man, almost everywhere you go, especially in the Eastern Caribbean. So now I feel so much better that I'm anchored out and I'm not on the hook for that mooring cost. And the boat has been a bit of a source of stress for me to this point. It was just 2 nights ago was the first time that I was about to go to bed, and I was milling around inside the boat, and I had a few beers, whatever, but I looked across the boat and I actually had a feeling of being relaxed and feeling good. That was the first time. That was 11 days after I put this boat in the water, and that was the first time I felt that way, where I didn't feel stress and anxiety while I was in the boat, my home. So that's exciting. And now that I'm on anchor, I very much feel that way. I very much feel, okay, I can relax, things are good, yeah, happy times. So I'm very happy to say that that's the case, and yeah, big update for sure. So that just happened this morning, late this morning. So yeah, I'm in good spirits. I'm not gonna lie, it hasn't been all roses. I've never been alone in my life. This is the first time that I've been alone for any period of time, and with all this hectic, crazy change in my life and the crazy things that are going on in my life, um, I don't know if that is the best time to try out being alone, but I am, and it is what it is. So yeah, I get a little lonely sometimes, but such is life, you know. I think I was thinking about it, and I think that's the way it's supposed to be, though. I think that I'm supposed to go through this process of buying the boat, learning the boat, gaining skills, figuring everything out on the boat, getting it in order. I think I'm supposed to go through this by myself, and then when I have the boat ready for someone else to be here, and I'm ready, confidence-wise, as the person in charge of the boat, when I'm ready for that, I think my person will show up. I think that it'll happen that way. Um, we'll see, but I feel good about it. So looking back, I told you guys what it was like to move the boat. That was a very stressful day, one of the most stressful situations of my life. But looking back on that, it would be easy to go, okay, here's this kind of culmination of all the preparations and planning that I made to do this lifestyle, to buy a boat and cruise the Caribbean. Okay, it's here. Here it is. This is what it manifests into. And when I'm bringing the boat over here, I kind of, I want to be funny and say something like,
yeah, this is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
But that's not actually the way I feel. Like, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. This is my destiny. I know that sounds corny, but I've been saying my whole life that I was going to do this, and I believed that with all my heart, and so I think I'm where I'm supposed to be. So I don't think it's crazy. I think a lot of people would look at what I'm doing, especially given my background and lack of experience, and they would say, yeah, you're crazy. But I just don't feel that way. I don't. So I wrote things down this time, so I would have a slightly more organized video. I'm going to try to keep this from getting too long, but it's going to. So is what I'm doing hard? Yes, it's hard. Is it comfortable? No, it's not comfortable. Is it stressful? Hell yeah, it's stressful. But I was thinking about it. There's only one way to get where I want to be, and it's not an easy way. It's not a comfortable way. It's a stressful way, and it's a way that's gonna test me, and it just is what it is. I'm gonna have to face fears many times, and I'm gonna have to have courage and just keep pushing forward. That's the way it goes. So, anyone who knows me very well knows that I feel very confident that the universe rewards people who just move forward. People that don't live a fear-based life, people that just do what they really want to do. The universe rewards that. I've always said, things will work out. Just be a good person, work hard, things are going to work out for you. That's the way the universe works. And I was pretty down in the days following picking up that mooring. Things were going wrong with the boat. I couldn't figure things out. I felt really defeated at times and down. And actually, I have this JBL speaker. It's my music source, and I can't stream anything. I can't watch TV or anything. But so I sit out and listen to music at night. That's my entertainment. Well, I couldn't find the charging cord, and it doesn't take a regular charging cord. It takes a specific charging cord. So I couldn't find it. So I lost all the power, and so I lost my tunes. And I was really bummed. And it was a couple days later, I was sitting in the cockpit, and I had brought the dinghy davits from the head in the shower. I had brought them out into the cockpit because I needed to install them, and I knew I didn't have all the hardware I needed. I didn't know if I had the tools I needed. I didn't know how to install them. There's no instructions, whatever. So I was just sitting in the cockpit, and I was just feeling defeated and stressed. And I just told myself, I was like, you like, I don't know how else to say this, but stop being a little bitch and just pick these things up and move forward. Just start putting them on the boat. You'll figure out what you need. You'll figure out what you don't have, and you just move forward. Damn it. So I did, and I had to go find some things, found some things in the boat for the install. I'll try to make this quick, but I ended up having to go through a tool bag that I had brought in a suitcase looking for a tool. And in the bottom of that tool bag, I had stored the power cable for the JBL boombox. And so, that was a little lesson for myself to, just keep moving forward, and you'll be rewarded. I was rewarded with tunes, right? So, yeah, that's just a little pep talk that I gave myself, and I'm gonna have to give myself a lot more of those, I bet, here in the coming weeks. Day to day, some days are really busy, some days aren't. I've stayed pretty busy because I have to stay, it keeps me busy just doing the things I need to do to survive. Anything I want to do, I have to get on the dinghy, I have to close up all the hatches on the boat. I need them open for wind flow, but when I leave, I got to close them in case it rains. And I also don't want anyone to break into the boat. But and then I got to get on the dinghy, and I got to dinghy to shore to go do anything I need to do. I have to constantly go to Budget Marine to get hardware and things that I need. I have to go to the grocery store to get things. I have to, I was having to take every meal on shore. I don't have to anymore. I can cook on the boat now. I just cooked my first meal on the boat today, but my first real meal anyway. But some days are taken, a lot of my days taken up just with those kind of mundane chores. It just takes a lot more time than it does when you live with conveniences. I don't. Other days are busy for other reasons. A couple days ago, 3 days ago, I guess, I had to go get a new starting battery because I finally had a mechanic that was going to come on the boat. And so I needed to have a fresh starting battery in there when he got here because the starting battery was dead. And he was going to be working on the engine and looking at the charging system and all that stuff. So I rented a car, and I woke up early. Well, before I rented the car, I woke up early that day. I'm motivated. I had to take out 4 of the 5 house batteries to get the starting battery out. And it's a bit of a complex install down there. I mean, it's not complex. There's just a lot of connecting wires and stuff, so it's easy to figure out. But took some time, got the starter battery out, took it ashore in the dinghy, rented a car, which is a bit of a process, and then drove to St. John. There's a store called Batteries Unlimited, I think they're called. They advertise everywhere. They got billboards everywhere. They're on the radio advertising. So I'm like, hey, I might save some money. Batteries Unlimited. They say they got batteries for everything. So I drive to St. John, pull up to Batteries Unlimited. It is a shack, and they have jack shack. They have nothing in there. Typical island crap. So no help. So the big Budget Marine store is over in Jolly Harbor. So I drove to Jolly Harbor. They had a battery that looked like it might work, but I wasn't sure because the terminal posts were very different, a different orientation than my batteries. So I came back to the boat, took some measurements. Lo and behold, that battery is going to work. So I go to my local Budget Marine here in English Harbor. They don't have it. That one in Jolly Harbor is the only one on the island. So I've got to drive over there. I didn't want to take, there's not that many main roads on the island. And I knew it was going to be busy getting over there. I had plenty of time. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a different route. Lessons learned, advice to give when you're on an island. Don't look at Google Maps and just take a road that you see. I did that in what was my rental car? A Hyundai Pico something or other, like a subcompact with little bitty tires on it. I ended up way down this road and it turned nasty. And I was like, okay, I could turn around and I probably have enough time to go back to the main road and go all the way around and get to Jolly Harbor before Budget Marine closes and I can go get my battery. But I was like, no, I'm an adventureman, right? I'm committed. I'm going to do this. Well, the road got progressively worse and worse. I forded small creeks. I went over boulders. I had to get out at one point and see what my line was going to be. I scraped the undercarriage of this thing on so many boulders. This vehicle is not okay. Um, I was very concerned when I returned it to the rental car place. Luckily, everything was fine. When I returned it, she was just like, well, first I put some pinstripes on this thing, man. I mean, this road was not a road at all. It was a 4x4 trail. Um, I put a lot of scratches on this car, and so I was gonna like maybe have somebody hose it down because it was so filthy. And then I was like, no, don't do that. Then they'll see the scratches. So I went to turn it in, man, and she was just like, she just walked out, walked around the car real fast. She was like, yeah, you're good. See you later. I was like, oh, okay, great. But that vehicle's not okay. It's not okay. Anyway, crazy day. I barely made it to Budget Marine before they closed, and got the battery, got it. Drove back across the island, got all my batteries reinstalled. That was a long day though. I was exhausted for sure, super tired. But some days are like that. The next day, the mechanic came, which was super exciting. My charging system, my alternator wasn't putting out on my motor, and when I tested it, um, it wasn't working. So you can't just buy a new alternator. I'm in Antigua. I'm on an island, out in the middle of nowhere. I can't buy an alternator. So what you do here is there's a store called Fitzroy's Rewinding, and it doesn't mean rewind to tape. It means rewind wire on electronics. So, I got there, and people on the table of jobs to be done, there's like, like a DeWalt charger for a 20 volt DeWalt battery, right? There's actually two of those. In America, in the States, you just throw that thing away and buy a new one. It doesn't cost hardly anything, but you can't just buy one here. So you take your electronics to Fitzroy's and they repair them for you. So I took the alternator to Fitzroy's, took the bus into town. It's a 45-minute bus ride into town, and they were going to do it same day for me. So I kicked around town, St. John's all day, St. John's sucks. It's kind of dumpy. Typical like Caribbean port town. It's like the ships come in and everything's cool, and they have a big market. And then as soon as the cruise ship leaves, everything in the market closes and turns into crappy town. But anyway, I walked around St. John all day, and it was cool. Learned St. John a little bit, but got my alternator repaired. Took the bus back that night, and the next day I got the alternator reinstalled, fired up the motor, got out the battery tester, the voltage meter, and nothing. Son of a bitch. So I was pretty pissed. I also had two other things going on with the motor. My impeller's spitting water, it's leaking water. That's why I had a bunch of water in the bilge after I brought the boat over. So I'm kind of relieved that I found that, and I know at least why I had water in the bilge. So impeller's leaking, and then I can't shut the motor off. When I hit the stop switch, it's like a fuel shut off and wasn't doing anything. So in order to stop the motor last time, I think I told you about this, I had to take off the air cleaner and cover up the air intake with my hand and suction it and starve it anyway. So it took me many days, but finally Dasser, the mechanic, the diesel mechanic, good dude, he finally came to the boat. So I picked him up at the dinghy dock and brought him out to the boat, and he spent some time on the boat going through the motor. And he he hooks up his equipment to the alternator in I don't know, I don't know the port that he knows what he's doing, but he's like, I'm getting a signal out of here, so I should be getting a charge. And he had already tested that there wasn't a charge. And he was like, do me a favor, crank up the RPMs. And as soon as he said it, I was like, son of a bitch. I was like, when I was originally testing the alternator before I got it repaired, I revved the RPMs. But after I installed the repaired alternator, I did not rev the RPMs. So I revved the RPMs up for Dasser, and it energized the alternator and kicked it in, and it started putting out. So happy days. The alternator works. I have a functioning charging system. And then he adjusted the linkage on the fuel shutoff, so that works now. The impeller seal behind the impeller is what's bad, so he's gonna have to find me one of those, see if there's one on the island. Maybe there is. He said it's pretty common. There's a good chance there might be one here, but if not, he'll order me one and we'll get that replaced as soon as we can. But thank goodness for Dasser. He's a good dude. It was somebody I know from the pub that recommended and gave me his number, so it's nice that things like that are working out. I'm making some contacts. So that's what's going on with the charging system. I told you I have a little generator, the Honda generator, the 2,000 watt generator, and I wasn't able to charge the batteries with that, and that was a real bummer. So I played around with that a lot more, and I still can't charge the batteries with it, but I'm excited to know that at least the giant Victron inverter converter unit, the big like $5,000 machine, it appears to be installed correctly normally. What's happening is when I fire up the generator and plug it into shore power, the inverter converter unit, the Victron unit, it recognizes that it has shore power now, and it does what it's supposed to do. The charging system kicks in on it, and it says, oh, we're going to charge, give me a lot of power so I can charge. And the way these little generators work is you plug them in, they don't, if you're not asking for a lot of power from them, they just kind of idle. When you ask for power from the generator, they rev up and give you more power. Well, they'll only give you so much power, and then they have like an AC switch protection, you know, overload protection. And what happens is the Victron unit, it's a big unit, and it's beefy, and it asks for a lot of power. And the little 2,000 watt Honda generator goes, okay, I'm going to give you all this power, and then it's too much, and it kicks on the protection, circuit protector, and it won't give any power when it does that. So I keep tripping it. Every time the big beefy Victron asks for a lot of power, it trips the circuit on the generator. So I looked it up online, found it on a forum. Even a Victron employee chimed in on the forum and said, yeah, you can't use these 2,000 watt generators, it won't work. Now for my RV, I have a 3,500 watt generator, and I could use that if I had it, but I don't have that. I have a little 2,000 watt generator. So anyway, I'm happy that the Victron appears to be functioning correctly. Anyway, so that's good. Let's see what else is going on. You know, I told you I cooked my first real meal on the boat today. That's exciting. Right after I gave you the update last time, I was able to get the old solenoid switch apart for the gas delivery. Got it apart, sprayed it with some de-rust stuff, cleaned it off real good, had a lot of rust on it, put it back together, and voila, I had gas. So I've been able to make tea on the boat every day. I wasn't able to run my refrigerator though, because my charging system wasn't working. My solar panel sucks. I have one 200 watt solar panel on this big old arch. That's all they put on for some reason when they constructed the arch. And it's old, it's 12 years old, and it ain't putting out 200 watts, I promise you that. Probably lucky if it's putting out 80 watts. And then I have a flexible panel that's, I think it's 100 watts, but it probably doesn't put out quite that either. And then those run through a charge controller that can only handle 200 watts. So I can't add more solar to that charge controller. Anyway, so I have this crappy solar setup that's not putting out very much power. So I was running my batteries down quickly. So I didn't run the refrigerator for like 5 days. And the solar and the wind charged the house bank fully up during that time. But now that I know I have a charging system working on the boat, I confidently turn the refrigerator on, and when I run the batteries down, I'll just fire up the motor, run it for a couple hours, charge up the house batteries, and I'll just have to do that every couple of days. It is what it is. So I now have a refrigerator. It's very exciting. And I can start to live within my budget. So it's right now, I should have told you this. It's Sunday. Was it November 3rd? Come on, phone. November 2nd, Sunday, November 2nd. So I'm kind of starting November where I can try to live on my budget. So that's definitely going to be my goal right now. You know, I've kind of been hemorrhaging money lately, but that's what buying a boat is. You know, I budgeted that into the cost of the boat. You know, with what I was paying for this boat, there was plenty of money left in the budget to get me through that month or whatever amount of time until I could get to where I was living on my budget. So I'm pretty much to that point now. You know, now that we're starting November, should be able to kind of live within my budget. Yeah, so that's exciting. So let me take you in the boat. I know some people wanted to go in the boat. So also, I was going to tell you, I ordered Starlink. It's going to come. It took a while. We had to go back and forth, back and forth. They didn't like the address I gave them. The Slipway told me I could have it shipped to them. So a lot of back and forth with Starlink though, and it's on the way. In fact, it should be here this coming week. So I let the Slipway know, so they're going to look out for it. And yeah, I'm gonna have Starlink pretty soon, it looks like. So that's exciting. What I did in the meantime, I bought a local phone. So I have an actual, I have an actual local phone, and then I have my American phone, so my iPhone. Uh, this is my first non-iPhone ever. So I use my local phone as a hotspot. So I got 40, it was the most data I could get, the plan. It's like, it's 50 bucks a month US. I get 40 gigs of data. So that's plenty of data to watch my weather videos every morning on YouTube and just do whatever, but I can't like stream TV or anything. I'd go way over that. So that's what it is. But that's what I'm doing right now for connectivity. And then pretty soon, hopefully, I'll have Starlink. So let's take you guys in the boat. Um, so yeah, it's still a mess, I promise. But I was able to clean up the kitchen a bit, the galley. I don't know how long it's going to take me to use the proper boat terms. So got it cleaned up because I was going to start using it, and so we're using it now. So it's not big. Well, for a 40-foot boat galley, it actually is big. It actually does have a lot of counter space. There's my dishes from my first meal I cooked today. How exciting for me. I know that's not exciting for you, but it sure is for me. Yeah, it's a mess over there on my nav station table, but what it is, man. This is the aft cabin, and that's my mainsail in that big gray bag, but the rest of it is still full of stuff. Now, that's a bed, so it's not like everything's to the floor in there or anything. It's up on a bed. It's not that much stuff, but I don't know where I'm going to put this stuff to make this cabin livable for someone. And eventually, I do want someone to use that cabin. I want another person on this boat, so I need to get that ready. Got to figure that out. So yeah, sorry it's trashed. I'm embarrassed, but whatever. I'm not that embarrassed, Just moved onto this boat. I'm trying to get things working and get it figured out. So here's our settee. Oh, this is cool. So there's a storage behind the settee back here, and that's how nice this boat is, man. Inside of that storage, that's like the hole right there. That in most boats that would be fiberglass. No, they lined it with teak strips. Way to go, Passport. This is a quality boat, man. So Ben, who helped me move the boat today and anchor it, he is sitting on the boat. He's looking through the companionway, and he was like, "Whoa." He's like, "That's a pretty interior. This is a pretty boat. This is a nice boat." He said, "Even the wheel is teak. It's beautiful." So yeah, proud moment for me. Proud owner of a beautiful boat. So trashed settee. These suitcases are empty. This one's empty. This one's empty. This one's not, but I'm going to get rid of these soon. There's a WhatsApp group for English Harbor, and I got to get on that group. Heidi sent me a link, but it didn't work, so I got to get somebody else to send me a link. But they said I'll have no problem getting rid of those suitcases on the WhatsApp English Harbor group. So I'm looking forward to that. Get those off the boat. So here's my head. If there was one thing that I really wanted to work when I moved onto the boat, it's the head. And it does work. The toilet works. It's not always super easy. I think the seals probably need to be replaced or something. I don't know. But it works. And that's the important part. That is a bag of toilet paper. And yep, that's right. No toilet paper down here. So you get to put it in a Ziploc or something and collect it. And then, is it gross? I don't think so. It's just the way I live. I don't know. I still don't have a shower curtain, but I have a shower. So it's a nice big shower stall. I can show you. I can get in it. It's plenty big in here. I got a lot of room in here, man. It's and I have to have a lot of room because I have to not drop water out of the shower stall because I don't have a shower curtain. But honestly, I could do this without a shower curtain. I wouldn't care. I just put a towel on the ground and I don't really make a mess. It's great. So here's my V-berth where I sleep. You like my sheets? So they had a kid on this boat, and this is the only fitted sheet on the boat. And so this is the fitted sheet I have. I'm going to order online some V-berth sheets. They make specific V-berth sheets. I'm going to order some, but I have to go to St. John. I found out the company that I need to use for a mailbox. A lot of storage in here. This is a really nice V-berth. Someone told me the company I need to use to get packages shipped. So this is my hatch, my very large hatch in my V-berth, and it moves air, man. And the wind is reliable out here. It's just always windy out here. It's always breezy. And when the wind dies and I'm concerned that it's going to be hot at night, I lay down and the wind always seems to pick up. And this breeze just moves through here and blows over my body, and I sleep just fine. That reminds me, I was worried when I moved onto the boat. I was like, am I going to be able to handle living on a boat as far as like motion goes, motion sickness type stuff? I felt confident, but you never know, man. What if I have a problem with it, you know? But luckily I do not. And, you know, this anchorage is pretty rolly, you know, especially that mooring I was on over there is even rollier than it is right here where I am now. This should be a little better where I'm at now. But it was super rolly over there. And we had a lot of really bad days as far as, you know, the boat being rolly. And man, I have no problem. I can be down below. Just do whatever I want as long as I want down below, and I have no troubles. I don't get seasick at all on this boat yet. There was one night where it was so rolly I couldn't get to sleep. Took me like, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours to get to sleep, but that was just the one night, and that hopefully it won't be that rolly for a while again. There's the dinger. Great dinghy, still doing great. Motor kicks ass, man. Definitely when Dasser got on with all his heavy ass tools and I was on it as well, yeah, it didn't do so well then. But when it's just me, that thing rips. So yeah, okay, this is a crazy long video. We have to end this. But I wanted to give you all a nice long update since it's been a while. And I will try to be better about doing more frequent updates. Oh my God, we're over 30 minutes. Okay, that's it then. We'll talk soon. I appreciate y'all watching my video, and I hope that everybody is doing great, and I will talk to y'all soon. Okay, bye.